Hi everyone and welcome to another gameplay analysis video by yours truly, Pete. Sorry for missing yesterday, some prior commitments got in the way and ended up not having enough time to do it. Sorry about that. Today we're looking at Whole Horse vs Johnny, as you can see, which got chosen because I am biased towards Whole Horse, and ACDC vs Jotaro, which I've chosen because there's some pretty cool things in it that I would like to talk about. Also, this matchup looks awful for Whole Horse. At the beginning here, when Whole Horse is standing like near full screen and throwing out Hang Fan, it looks better than I thought it would be for keep away purposes, because it does force your opponent to move when you normally wouldn't be able to. So Johnny got hit by a bullet here, which shouldn't really be surprising, because you'd think that people would get hit by bullets. But at other points in this match, Johnny does just crouch over it, like just then. That's his backwards walk, and the fact that the bullet went over him in that is somewhat impressive, and unfortunate for Whole Horse and anyone else who has thin bullets. Abdul will probably be fine, because he's got big, wide fireballs, so that should be okay for him. But Whole Horse or Mista, or even other Johnnies, might have a bit of a problem. You see the Hangman does actually force Johnny to not just sit there, which is better than I thought it would be. Might even be his saving grace in this matchup. That just then also is another reason why this is an unfortunate matchup for projectile users, because as you saw, Whole Horse shot a bullet, it then collided with a nail, and then the other two nails went and hit Whole Horse. Which means that at that range, you can't really throw a projectile at him, because his will just beat yours. Mista might be able to curve it around, because in PV3 it was shown that he could curve into the foreground, go forward, and then back into the right plane. So he can probably trade projectiles at least, but everyone else seems like they probably just outright lose, unless they also have a multi-hitting projectile. That's totally unsafe. Whole Horse was still on the ground when he got hit by Johnny, which is unfortunate for him. Hopefully he has a special that's safe. That was a neat angle of the bullet, by the way. Quite liked it. Makes you want to jump over it and then anti-as you. This is pretty amusing, because as you saw, Johnny did actually hit Whole Horse with his super, but because of the angles the two projectiles were going at, Johnny got hit as well, which is amusing, because normally you'd think that in projectile versus super projectile would just win every time. But you get a nice trade here, which is unfortunate for Johnny, I guess, since he spent a bar only to get hit. It almost seems to me like this matchup gets better for Whole Horse when Johnny gets an Act 2. Because the whole projectile at least means you'll trade with Johnny instead of just losing. He doesn't have the multi-shot projectile anymore, I don't think. Just then is something that's really good for everyone who was wondering what the combo system would be like and was scared that it might just be the bland light, medium, heavy, special, super. Because just then Johnny got hit off his horse in the air, Whole Horse landed, and then juggled him with the glass. Because he chose this glass special, he doesn't get anything else, because he then has to shoot and the bullet whiffs. But it does show that you can juggle on air-to-air hits. It might just be because Johnny got knocked off the horse in the air, but I would wager that it's just air-to-air hits. Is always fun. See, the whole projectile doesn't clash with the projectiles, so it does look like it gets better for Whole Horse at Act 3. This stage hazard looks really annoying as well. It covers a pretty wide area, and it heals Akira, so this stage is going to be really annoying to play on if you're playing against Akira. The Whole Horse AI is awful in projectile wars. Why would you curve backwards at full screen when Johnny's shooting at you? But yeah, this matchup seems like it plays out really weirdly, with Whole Horse's projectiles whiffing on Johnny all the time, and Johnny seemingly not wanting to get to Act 2. It seems weird that you would not want to level up, but the fact that you lose the multi-hit projectile that just wins you projectile wars, and the fact that you will have to reload after you fire 10 times, which gives Whole Horse space to shoot as many projectiles as he wants at you, seems like you'd want to not level up. But there's probably something that I'm overlooking because the AI isn't using it. So, or maybe the frame data is better for projectiles once you've leveled up, and so you'll win that way. But just on face value, it seems weird. Now we're up to ACDC vs Jotaro, which is a pretty fun video for ACDC, even though he gets obliterated by Jotaro. Just starting off here, the Pillarmen and the Vampires get recoverable health against anything except the Ripple, supposedly. But this auto didn't give him any recoverable health, which means that it looks like it's a reference to stands being called Yurei Hamon, or Ghost Ripple when they were first introduced. Is pretty bad for the poor Pillarmen and Vampires, because it means they're probably never really going to get recoverable health except against Gyro. I think Gyro is the only one. Maybe Johnny's nails don't count. I don't know. But either way, they're definitely not going to get recoverable health enough for it to be something they can rely on. This is the first throw, I believe, we've seen in the All-Star Battle League. Using the frame data, it's about 5 frames, which given 5 frame startup, which given this is a 30 frame per second game is fairly slow, and the fact you can't combo off it, and it doesn't do that much damage is really quite disappointing, which means they're probably relying on this guard bar and for overheads to be the way to stop your opponent from blocking. Because if throws are bad and overheads are bad, then there's not really that many reasons to not just keep blocking until your guard bar is broken. The fact that stylish moves take a lot of guard bar means that, I guess, you wouldn't want to just block as much as you can, because then eventually you're going to run out of enough. You won't have enough bar to stylish move. But it is interesting. It's certainly not the first game that would be relying on overheads and guard bar more than throws, don't get me wrong. Most 3D games use lows, fast lows, given that overheads are the standard there, as the way to stop people from blocking. But guard bar is a pretty good way to do it. ACDC has a completely different way of stopping people from blocking, as you'll see in this matchup. So bad. This hazard looks completely negligible, to be honest. It covers only that area, compared to the lightning that you saw before. It's pretty amusing that stage hazards are definitely not created equal. ACDC goes into his the super version of his mode, I guess. He was already in his mode, and then he burns a bar to go into this version. All the Pillarmen have one. Wham's is the invisible wind guard, and Kaz's is the unblockable light blades. This one seems really annoying, because as you see, it gives you recoverable health, which is standing next to him, even though Jotaro was comboing ACDC. Even though ACDC is now on the ground and not touchable, it's still being damaged. Even though it is only recoverable health, it's a really interesting way to stop people from blocking against ACDC, because that was a fair chunk of damage for just standing next to him. So if he's doing a block string to you, you're taking damage, a fair chunk of damage for just taking it. Which is it seems really good for ACDC. I think just from that alone that he seems good, because the fact if you can die from your opponent's recoverable damage, then that means if you're at a certain health, if he just goes into that mode, you can't combo him or you'll die from comboing him. Which it seems really good. We don't know if that can kill, obviously. I'd assume that self-inflicted recoverable damage can't kill you, so Bruno and Okuyasu couldn't kill themselves. But opponent-inflicted recoverable damage works different in different games, so we'll just have to see how this one works out. The throw thing is also interesting, because characters that wouldn't have a good way to work down the guard bar and don't have a good overhead would just be useless. The only overhead I think we've actually seen confirmed to be an overhead is Diavolo's special, which is specifically referred to as an overhead in the Famitsu article. I'd be surprised if other characters didn't have overheads, because characters tend to have about 2 or 3 command normals in this game, so you'd assume that one of them is probably an overhead for characters that want to mix up. But for characters other than that, Jotaro is probably going to want to aura down your guard bar, so that seems okay. But I don't know what other characters would do, with throws being a bit mediocre. Presumably characters have been balanced around that though, so I'm not that worried. And it is a different way of going at it, which is always nice. Wouldn't if every fighting game worked the same, then it'd be incredibly boring. So that's what I have to say about these matches. I hope everyone's going to be watching the All-Star League tonight, even if they only show the highlights, because personally, I would die waiting for the weekend to know who won the pools. Like, it'd just be too much pressure for me. And even the highlights alone are interesting, I think. I'll probably be rooting for Jolyne and for Giorno. I hope Jolyne has some cool stuff, and we haven't seen much of either of them. So fingers crossed we get full matches. But even if it's only highlights, it should be good. Thanks for watching, and please watch the next one if you enjoyed this, and subscribe.